Okay, welcome back to Angel's POV Cooking Diaries. Today I'm doing a request and it's for my father-in-law, Kevin. He's a Geordie and apparently in the northeast they do this bread called Stottie bread. Didn't have a clue what it was. I've looked it up. It's a bit of a different bread recipe, but we're going to give it a go, all right? So, in there we have 600 grams of strong white flour. And we're going to put the dry goods in first. So for this particular recipe, it's a teaspoon of salt, lovely, teaspoon of sugar, and 14 grams of fast acting yeast. Normally for this amount, I would say one bag, 7 grams is enough. But in this case, it says don't mix it in with the water, which is different. I normally like to get my yeast activated, but I'm going to follow it because it is a northeast recipe and I don't want to not follow it and then it come out wrong. So I'm following it by the T. So you put all the dry goods together and plug the mixer in, that helps, and then just bring all the dry goods in together. That way, take it. Whoa. Now, for the so that's the dry goods. Let's go through it again. 600 grams of flour, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of sugar, and 2 bags of yeast. So there you go. That's the dry goods. Now, for the wet goods, this particular dough, it's got no fat content in it, so normally you would add, I don't know, butter, lard, olive oil, but this particular recipe's got no fat content. However, it does have milk, so maybe it's getting the fat content from the milk. But 175 millilitres of warm milk, 125 millilitres of water, and just add it in. There we go. Now that will start to come together. And from the look of it, I'm not sure, but from the look of the recipe I looked at, it's going to be quite a dry dough, but we'll soon find out as it comes together. Then always, as when making bread, whether that will be, you know, normal bread, donuts, any kind of bread really, any kind of bread dough, it needs kneading. You need to stretch them with glucose. Me, I don't need it. I've got my machine here, and what I'm going to do now is, as it's all coming together, I'm basically going to let it mix for 10 minutes. It says it needs to be kneaded for 10 minutes. So I'm going to let it mix for 10 minutes, and then we'll be back for the next stage. Okay, so here we are. It's been kneading for 10 minutes. It's quite, as Ron said, let's stop it. It is quite a dry dough, I've got to say. It is quite a dry dough. But, again, what I looked up this morning, I was expecting it to be dry. Maybe not this dry, I'm going to be honest. But I'm sticking to the recipe and we'll see how it progresses. So now what I'm going to do is give it just a little knead just to bring it together as a ball, because the blade has obviously ripped it somewhat, which is good because, as I say, it helps the gluten stretch. And then we're going to put it back in the mixer for an hour to rest. Some bits are quite normal to bread making. Some bits, like the fat's got no fat content in it. The fact that it is quite a tight dough. Milk as well as water. It's just subtle differences, but it has got a lot of yeast. More yeast than normal as well. So we'll see. As I say, quite a tight dough. Let's ball it all together. We'll stick it in the mixer, put a cover over it and ask my friend Alexa, put an hour timer on. Alexa, place an hour timer.
1 hour, starting now.
Right, so...
By the way, you have one new notification. When you see the yellow light ring on your device,
there you go.
It means you have a notification or message.
I have a notification.
Just say, read my
I'll listen to it once
notifications.
I've turned this off. So, as I say, it's in the mixer, quite a tight dough. We'll see how we get on. I'll come back in an hour and we'll carry on. Okay, welcome back. So it's been just over an hour now and 5 minutes. Look at that, it's actually grown in size considerably. Reason for that, I'm guessing, is that even though it's a tight dough, it has got more yeast than normal bread. So now what we do, we should just not, I would recommend using 2 hands, but I want to get the camera angle a bit better. So I just knead all the air out of it. Okay, another difference from Stottie bread to normal bread is that it doesn't prove a lot once you shape it and put it in the oven. I'm guessing, and again this is a guess, with the extra yeast that it's got, once you put it in the oven it's going to burst, and what I mean is it's going to grow rapidly. But we shall wait and see. So here you have it. Knock the air out of it. It's nice and tight again, even though it was quite springy when it had its first rest prove. Okay, now for the next bit, apparently, again, as I say, I've never done this before. 2 seconds, just grab it. Okay, next bit, cut it in half. There she is. Make them into nice balls. It's a lot easier to handle with a smaller lump. Just knead them into a nice ball. And then, apparently, just flatten them. So there she is, that's the first Stottie bread. There she is. We'll put that in the baking tray. Then the other one, do the same thing. They're such tight doughs that this is actually quite hard work. It's North East, isn't it? They're all tough up there. They're all hard men. So they don't mind the hard work. When you're little like me, this is actually quite tough. So there they are, right? One other difference is that they don't have a long proof. They have 10-minute proof. Well, they don't even call it a proof. They call it 10 minutes to relax. So we'll put them there for 10 minutes. Then you add another couple of bits, which I'll show you. And then we'll put them in the oven. Now, obviously, because they only take 10 minutes to relax, I can put the oven on now. Another difference is they bake at 180, whereas bread would normally bake at 220. But we'll put the oven on for 180 and we'll be back. There she is. Okay, welcome back. So it's been 10 minutes. They've actually grown quite a lot, and I think that's because of the high amounts of yeast that the recipe has. So next thing is a hole with a fork, which again is knocking the air out of it. I still think they're going to burst in the oven, but we'll wait and see. And then put an indentation in the middle with your finger. Now, as I say, this is baking at a slightly lower temperature of 180 degrees, which is lower than bread, normal bread. So put it in 180 degrees. I'll go, Alexa, give me a 20-minute timer.
20 minutes, starting now.
And we'll come back and put it out. Okay, let me grab. So it's been 24 minutes, because I checked 24 minutes ago and it wasn't quite ready. So let's turn the oven off. And done as I imagined, due to the high quantity of yeast, they burst considerably. They're meant to be this light colour, well, from what I've seen on the net. They don't look too dissimilar actually from what I've seen on the net, but I'm sure my Geordie father-in-law will tell me different. They feel quite hollow. So that's it. Stottie bread, typical northeast Geordie style bread. Apparently best way to eat it, cut it down the middle, slice it, fill it up with, my father-in-law says black pudding, not for me, but other meats would do. I'm imagining actually with chorizo this would be banging. But yeah, so once again, I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it and hopefully eating it. Please comment, like, subscribe, and like my father-in-law, if you've got any requests, let me know and I'll get them made. Thank you.